future of farming, and you'll be farming long after a lot of us have gone politically otherwise. So, right, lad.
Cahirlach Hanadori agus Agini Ursula is more known dom a bheith Sean you a bheith kind frin Sherbata an Farm. Gone out is rud fear Havatach an Aversha agus the Ahas and Dormum a kind free. My name is Patrick Duffy and I am from County Monaghan and a member of the farming community there. As the chairperson said, I work regularly both on my own farm at home and on my uncle's farm down the road. I'm also currently a transition year student at Ballybay Community College in County Monaghan. I believe as a young person living in rural Ireland today, I have some knowledge and some experience of farm safety, and today I would like to talk about farm safety from a young person's perspective. Now, of the 30 people who died in Irish farms last year, 5 were children. 3 of these children were under the age of 7. And according to the HSA, 22 children excuse me, between the years 2005 and 2014 died on Irish farms. Now that's an extraordinary high number for such a small age group and such a young age group as well. I believe that currently there's a lack of awareness among young people regarding farm safety, and I think if we want to lower the amount of deaths and accidents among our young people, that has to change. I believe the way forward to promote this awareness, and I know it has been mentioned often earlier today, is through education, both at home and at school. Now in my submission, I called for farm safety to be taught as a compulsory subject throughout primary school, from junior infants to 6th class. I also think that this education should be continued on, possibly to secondary level, as part of a transition year programme. Now, as part of a school project 2 or 3 years ago, I designed a farm safety board game, which is aimed at primary school children to teach them the rights and wrongs per se of safety on the farm. It's a very simple game. I roll the dice. If I land in a positive space, such as farmer wearing reflective life jackets or farm safety signs put in place, I go forward 2 or 3 spaces. Likewise, if I land in a negative space, such as children playing in a field with a bull or up in slurry tank, I go back 2 or 3 spaces. Now, the aim of this game is to, I suppose, highlight the dangers on farms to our young children and in a fun and interactive way. And it is of my opinion that children learn better in a fun and interactive way than they do sitting reading it out of a book. I also believe that not only would this be a good tool in the classroom, if children happen to bring it home to their families and play it with their parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, whatever, the child in turn will be teaching the family as a whole about farm safety, and I know that was mentioned earlier. And believe it or not, sometimes it can be the child that can teach the adult. I was at an IFA meeting in County Monaghan recently, and a farmer told me that he wanted to bring his son up with him on a tractor. But his son refused to go because he knew of the HSA regulation banning children under the age of 7 from tractor cabs. So this child knew of this regulation. He either heard it on the news or he heard other farmers talking about it. But because he was informed and because he was educated, he was able to, in turn, inform and educate his parent on an issue to do with farm safety. And I see no reason why that can't happen, and I'm sure it will happen if there is more education in our schools. Now, here, my board game's only one example of the many different ways we can teach farm safety to our young people. Another publication I'd like to bring to the committee's attention is this Stay Safe on the Farm with Jessie. It's a HSA and Chazzik publication. It tells the story of a dog bringing her puppies to the farm, pointing out the various hazards and how to avoid accidents. And it's where I personally learned most about my knowledge of farm safety. And I remember my parents sitting us around, the family as children, reading this book to us, pointing out the various dangers in relation to our farm and other farms. And I'm sure And I'm sure that's where we learn about our farm safety. And I think that every farmer family and every farmer with small children should have a copy of this book and read it to them. Finally, Cahir, to conclude, I believe that there's currently a lack of awareness among young people involved in farm safety today. I believe the way forward to increase more awareness is through more education at home and at school, primary level and secondary level. And I believe there should be more cooperation between our young people and their parents on this issue. And if we do this, I'm sure we will see a decrease in the number of farming fatalities and accidents involving our young people in Ireland today. Shouldn't I will talk Michael?
Well, you taught me one thing already, and you were the seventh presenter to the committee, and you were the first person who finished spot on time. You must have a stopwatch. Yeah. Senator Maurice Cummins.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to compliment both Mizzen Rovers and indeed Patrick on their presentations. Mizzen Rovers, we haven't heard as much about Goleen since Paddy Sheen has gone there, but we never forget it at the same time. But I think it's highly appropriate. I think the small club, GAA club, which has its roots in the rural community, which is present in every parish in the country, should be at the forefront in promoting farm safety. I'd like to compliment you on your presentation. I think certainly one of the novel issues which you raise is the use of prominent GAA players